For gun control. We got to get the guns. Remind me later to, holy cow, I just thought about this. There's a House bill introduced that would, by a guy from Rhode Island, that would ban all semi-automatic weapons, both rifles and handguns.
Whoa.
Tell you about that later. But Mr. John had said, for all these people that are screaming about gun control, I know I got way off the track, I apologize. All these folks yelling the loudest about gun control and saying, we need to be like England, we need to be like France, we need to be like Europe, where they don't have guns of any kind. And he said, y'all can just carry your happy ass.
He did.
And he talked about that, and then we talked a little bit more about the people who are actually yelling the loudest for gun control, and they're thinking about the Constitution, their views of literally eliminating the Second Amendment.
Well, it's true. I mean, that's what is behind much, not all, but much of this cry for more gun control. There are some of my colleagues, some of the members of the Washington cartel, just don't believe in the Second Amendment. Their Constitution, their Bill of Rights, their copy of the Bill of Rights goes from 1 to 3. Now, mine includes the second. And the United States Supreme Court, two very recent decisions, has said, look, if you're an American, you have the right to bear arms, just like you have the right to free speech, just like you have the right to worship the God of your choice or no God at all.
You know,
and I am not going to curtail that right unless I know there will the benefit, if you will, of curtailing it is more than speculative.
The hypocrisy to me, although it's rampant, it is the perfect example is when Steve Scalise was shot, with a guy or by a guy with a rifle. I didn't see a lot of Democrats or leftists jumping up and down screaming for gun control then, did you?
No. Look, we can stop virtually every shooting in America. Here's how we do it. Just become China. Live in a police state. China, the Communist Party in China controls who has guns. They control what you look at on the internet. They control what you say. They control where you go to church. But America is a big, open, free, democratic society. And we do have gun laws. They're not being enforced. The database, we have a national database if you're a convicted felon. If you've abused your spouse, if you're mentally ill, you can't have a gun. The problem is that the state and federal bureaucrats in charge of sending information to the database aren't doing it. They're not doing it. And until some of them are fired, they're not going to continue doing it. They're going to continue not doing it. I suggest to the president, I said, Mr. President, just a suggestion, but call in all your cabinet secretaries and tell them, look, go back and find out who in your agency is responsible for sending the information into the database. Find out who's doing it and pat them on the back and say, good job. Find out who's not doing it and fire them. And you won't have any more problem.
Senator, let's shift gears just a minute to the criminal justice reform. Watched a piece 60 Minutes last night on how great Germany's system is and all these U.S. people are going there. We've tried criminal justice reform in Louisiana. It's new, but you're calling it an unqualified disaster. Little early, or you really think it is?
I really think it is. I think, look, I believe in second chances. I think most Americans do. But before you let these folks out on the street, you've got to know who you're letting out on the street, and you've got to know that they have a chance and a probability to live peacefully along with their fellow Americans. And none of that's being done. The program is administered by the Department of Corrections, which has demonstrated its incompetence. I mean, the FBI is all over the Louisiana Department of Corrections right now. It's been in the papers, and there's a reason for that.
What's the reason? What's the big issue? The wardens have one warden and his spouse, a senior member of the prison, have been indicted
The warden of Angola had to step down. The legislative auditor just did a report on the Department of Corrections, found that they don't know, the Department of Corrections don't know where 11% of their prisoners are. They know they're somewhere in the system. They just don't know what institution. A television program, our station in Baton Rouge did a scathing investigative report. The Department of Corrections was letting a group of violent criminals, including sex offenders, out during the day to go sing to nursing homes and in parks where there were children. I mean, we know what happened with state police, Colonel Mike Edmondson. The FBI is investigating that.
Mm-hmm.
If the governor's going to let criminals go, I would suggest that he let the DAs and the sheriffs, like Steve Prater, for example, let them make the decisions, not let the Department of Corrections make the decision.
Corrections Secretary Jimmy LeBlanc says your criticism has been unfair, and you are clear, I'm quoting here, clearly uninformed about this national bipartisan issue. Your response?
I wasn't uninformed when he let that guy go in Kenner, who'd been arrested 60 times. Jimmy and the governor let him go. He promptly robbed 2 roofers, earning a living in the hot sun at gunpoint, could have killed them. He was only caught when somebody saw him walking down the street pulling door handles trying to steal a car. I wasn't uninformed then. I wasn't uninformed when the other 80-plus people that they let go promptly committed a crime again. They don't know who they're letting go, and they don't know their propensity to violence. And I hate to say this, and I hope I'm wrong, but they're going to get somebody killed. They're going to get some law-abiding citizen hurt because of their... I mean, this is a national agenda promoted by former Speaker Nancy Pelosi. All you got to do is go to the internet and research it. This is mostly her idea and some of the other leading Democrats. If you took Speaker Pelosi, turned her upside down and shook her, Governor Ed would fall out of her pocket. He's just following the national liberal Democratic dogma, and they're going to get somebody killed.
But this was a task force that made these recommendations. You know,
No,
it was citizens. You don't think so?
It was a task force. It was a task force stacked by the governor. Anytime you see a gubernatorial task force or committee, I don't care who the governor is, they're going to do whatever the governor wants because the governor picks the people carefully.
19 past 6 o'clock, KEEL traffic update now. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at Hearn Avenue and Greenwood Road's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now, and we're still keeping an eye on that minor hit and run on North Market near Havens Road. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will bring sunshine with a high of 71, then chilly under clear skies tonight, low 36, sunshine and cooler, high 59 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
26 after 26 after 6, 1017 FM and 710 Keel. Commissioner of Administration Jay Darden joins us at about 6:40. So they did sine die, right? Sine die.
Sine die.
Here's the deal. This weekend, the Latin phrase is S. The first word is SINE. The second word is DIE.
DIE.
And I looked up a pronunciation of that, a legitimate Latin pronunciation this weekend, and I don't necessarily recall what exactly the pronunciation was, but it wasn't sine die. So I'm wondering where that comes from. What it means is we're going to leave now, and we ain't coming back.
Well, they're coming back Monday.
So evidently it's not a real sine die. What? So they shut it down last night. They said the special session has ended.
Special session's done.
And then on Monday they go back to regular
session is March 12th. Isn't that Monday? Yeah.
So what happened last night?
Nothing.
What do you mean?
Nothing. Wait. 2 bills got out, I think. I think there were 2 bills. Had nothing to do with the budget. One would give a disaster tax break to flood victims. Another would boost a cell phone tax that pays for deaf services.
Yeah.
So those 2 measures passed. Attaboy.
So your cell phone bill's going to go up a little bit.
Yeah, just a smidgy poo.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. But it pays for services for the deaf to provide for them. And I'm okay with that. I don't have a huge deal with that.
It pays more for them. We're already paying for that service.
Right.
That service, it's not as though that service does not exist. Someone in the state decided, well, we're not covering the costs, or we're not making enough money on it.
And what I don't get about all this is that some are saying that the House Speaker reneged on his promise that he made to the governor.
But Alan Seabaugh said yesterday that the governor went into session. The governor, Mr. Seabaugh, said yesterday that John Bell had given his word that he would not go into session unless a deal was on the table.
And he's claiming he had a deal with Taylor Barra.
And Alan says, no, that's not the case.
That's not the case. And there are others who say that the governor pledged the support of the Legislative Black Caucus when he really didn't have all the details.
In other words, he was bartering with votes that he didn't really have, that he was playing with chips. He was playing with somebody else's chips.
Yeah, pretty much. And so I'm not sure who you believe.
So we're going to talk to Jay Darden after 6:40. And my question is, I guess, why?
Yeah, and how frustrated are you?
I don't care.
Well, I do.
No.
Because it's a waste of $1 million.
Okay, but he's not going to tell you that. I
understand.
Well, what I mean is,
they're frustrated.
What I mean is, Jay Darden, Commissioner of Administration, will join us in 10 minutes and tell us it was a waste of $1 million because taxes weren't raised, and he'll do that in a very circuitous and articulate way. But at the end of the day, yes or no, the Edwards administration wanted more of your money.
They said revenue neutral.
At the end of the day,
that's what they said. Do you hold them at their word?
The Edwards administration said they cut $900+ million.
I know. I understand it. They wanted to get rid of that penny. They wanted to shift the burden onto others. I get that. And I would have been the burdenee. You and me that make a decent living. But I still say that 10-cent tax that we pay, sales tax in Louisiana, is ridiculous. And until they do something about that, we are doomed.
Jay Darden, Commissioner of Administration, joins us in just about 10 minutes. Erin has local news up next. 6:29, traffic update coming up right now. Ruben's ready.
The intersection at Hearn Avenue and Greenwood Road's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now, and we're still keeping an eye on that minor hit-and-run on North Market near Havens Road. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will bring sunshine with a high of 71, then chilly under clear skies tonight, low 36. Sunshine and cooler, high 59 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
information. KEEL News now.
Lawmakers go home after spending 15 days in a special session and failing to find a solution for the $1 billion fiscal cliff. Political analyst Clancy DeBose says the same partisan divides that tanked the February special session still exist going forward.
It's almost a dead certainty that there will be a special session in June. And the problems aren't going to change. They will simply be under the gun, and there will be a much higher level of uncertainty.
Republican Representative Cameron Henry says the governor failed to communicate exactly what he wanted or how large of a shortfall that needed to be made up.
We go back to the same problem that we always have, is making sure we're all starting off with the right number. And clearly the numbers aren't clear for him, both on his vote count or on the actual shortfalls.
But Edwards is placing the blame on House Speaker Taylor Barra.
Simply put, the failure of this special session is the result of a total lack of leadership and action in the House of Representatives. A spectacular failure of leadership.
Lawmakers get back together for the regular session beginning on Monday. A man is busted after a robbery and chase with police. Bill St. Andrew faces several charges after he held a couple of people at gunpoint, robbed them, then led Bossier deputies on a high-speed chase. He allegedly attempted to rob a woman outside of a convenience store on Highway 157. When that robbery didn't go as planned, St. Andrew then allegedly held another man at gunpoint, took his money, and led police on a chase. St. Andrew was eventually stopped in Webster Parish without incident. Parents get death threats over the religious lawsuit in Bossier. Matt Parker with that.
The 7 parents in Bossier Parish who filed suit against the school district want to remain anonymous during the legal proceedings. The parents say they fear for the safety of themselves and their children. The group is suing the Bossier Parish School District for allegedly forcing unwanted and unconstitutional religious messages on their children. Numerous social media posts were made after news of the lawsuit broke that threatened violence against the families and all non-believers. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
With the red still causing flooding issues across the region, the Bossier Sheriff's Department has decided to close the substation on the Teague Parkway until the waters recede. As the river crested yesterday, water from the rain-swollen river was flooding the substation's parking lot. Now, crews in Shreveport waiting for the waters to recede so they can begin the cleanup process. SPAR officials will be able to evaluate the damage, clean up debris, and make needed repairs. Of all the parks affected by the flooding, SPAR officials say Riverview Park will most likely need the biggest repairs. Criminal justice reform in Louisiana is a hot topic across the state. U.S. Senator John Kennedy tells KEEL News our governor is doing this simply for political reasons.
He's just following the national liberal democratic dogma, and they're going to get somebody killed.
Kennedy says if you turned House Speaker Nancy Pelosi upside down, quote, Governor Edwards would fall out of her pocket. A former Trump campaign aide is a little bit skeptical after first challenging authorities to arrest him and declaring in various TV interviews that he will not cooperate with Special Prosecutor Robert Mueller. The former aide, Sam Nunberg, told the AP that he's angry over Mueller's request that he appear before a grand jury and turn over thousands of communications with other ex-officials, but he now predicts he'll end up cooperating with them. The woman's antelope hunt is on again in Wyoming. State lawmakers have passed a bill that would provide 80 pronghorn antelope hunting licenses to a special woman's hunt in Wyoming. And that would give it the same number of antelope licenses that the state has provided to the long-held one-shot antelope hunt in Lander, which chiefly involves male hunters. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
637, Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. So you said to me, who is the most hated man in America? According to CNN, it's Donald Trump.
I can't believe you don't know this.
Then there's
Today.
the Nunberg guy.
Ooh.
Is that who you're talking about, that
No.
Nunberg guy?
No.
Who is it?
It is.
Jimmy Kimmel.
No.
Jimmy Kimmel's high on my list.
Ari Lyondike.
Why?
I know you don't watch The Bachelor.
No.
It
I would
was
be willing.
spreading like wildfire. I got text from my brother who said, "Are you watching this?"
Yeah.
Do you know what this duty head did?
I know.
He's on The Bachelor. He's The Bachelor, picking from all these chicks. Last night was the big finale.
How long's that show been on?
I don't know.
When The Bachelor started, he was like in high school. Now he's on Social Security. It's not the same guy, right?
It's Ari Lyondike Jr. He's a
what I
race
mean
car
is-
driver.
What I mean is, I've never watched The Bachelor. I am relatively aware. There was
this
a young lady
guy.
from Shreveport Shea Deeds who was on The Bachelor,
Mhm.
but that was a million years ago, and I'm thinking, hasn't he picked somebody yet?
It's a different guy. They do a different one every season. Every
It's
season
like James
is a different
Brolin is The
guy.
Bachelor.
Here's what this duty head did. He picks a girl. In the end, gets down on a knee, proposes marriage. Wee, wee, celebrate. Wee, 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 go off into the sunset. Well, somehow.
What was that noise again?
Wee, wee, wee,
And go off into the sunset. Yeah, that's how it was for all of us.
Somehow, ABC convinced them to let us film some of y'all's because see, they can't be seen out in public until the show starts airing, until the show is finished airing, actually, so we know we don't spoil it. So they film some of their behind-the-scenes private thing. He dumps her. They do it live with 2 cameras on, unedited. He dumps her and says, "I'm really in love with the other girl."
Hold on. Just hold
it. was gut-wrenching.
You need to hold this thought because
How do you do this BS?
For you to believe still after all these years that the fix isn't in.
Oh.
It's professional wrestling with romance.
Yeah.
For you to believe that they're not in control all the way. Okay, you just now just
don't
stop.
insult professional wrestling like
I'm
that.
not. I'm insulting The Bachelor.
He is the most hated man in America
We'll
today
talk about
for
this.
doing that to
Jay
poor Becca.
Darden is standing by, the state
It's
commissioner
not
of
Jay
administration.
Darden, no.
We don't have Jay Darden today?
No, we have Jay Darden, but he's not the most hated man in America.
No, he's standing by. He's on hold.
I know. It's Ari Lyondike.
Okay, Mr. J, if you're listening,
We love you.
You're not even in Louisiana's top 10. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Mr. J is up next. Right now, traffic update. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at Hearn Avenue and Greenwood Road's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we're still keeping an eye on that minor hit and run on North Market near Havens Road. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will bring sunshine with a high of 71, then chilly under clear skies tonight, low 36. Sunshine and cooler, high 59 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
.642, it's 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert and Erin, Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884. Mr. Jay Darden is the Louisiana State Commissioner of Administration. Hey, Mr. Jay, thank you for joining us once again. How are you today?
Well, good morning. You've had me laughing first thing this morning because I was on hold listening to your discussion about last night. I came home from the disaster that was the special session, only to have The Bachelor on TV that my wife was watching. I was having the same argument that y'all were having.
You got stuck watching it with your wife?
Mr.
Oh,
J,
no, I didn't watch it.
Without getting too far off the track, without getting too far off our track, for the love of God, man, please explain to her it's a network television show. They just might have a plan.
That's
But
exactly
aside,
what I said, I can't believe they're stretching this out again, and everybody's going to be glued to the set tomorrow night. But anyway, we digress. But I was laughing saying the same thing.
Speaking of a plan, or in this case, lack of a plan, we had Representative, one of your favorite guys, of course, Representative Alan Seabaugh on yesterday, and he said that the special session was basically a boondoggle and a waste of time and money. At this point, you probably agree, but at the same time disagree.
Well, there was a plan going in. There was the reason we had the special session is because the Speaker and the President and the Governor all agreed on what would be in the call and what would be done. The Speaker had agreed to a plan that would have raised almost what the Governor had requested to close the gap that was necessary, and that all blew up within the first day or two of the session, and so it wound up being a gargantuan failure and a waste of $1 million of the taxpayers' money to pay per diem to legislators and to pay the staff and what have you. It was obviously it didn't turn out the way we'd hoped it turned out. We've been talking about this cliff for literally for more than a year, and talking in the past 6 months about how it needed to be fixed and the consequences of not doing it now. And unfortunately now that is the reality that we're facing. But as you know, the Governor announced yesterday, we're not going to have another costly special session. We're going to propose to end the regular session early so that the legislature can come into another special session that would end when the regular session was supposed to end. And that way we won't be paying per diem to legislators for yet another special session. Hopefully they can get it done in the one that will take place during the time that the regular was supposed to be happening.
Mr. Allen told us yesterday that the governor had promised that he wouldn't go to special session, call for a special session, unless a deal was in place, and he told us there was no deal in place going in. Obviously, you disagree?
Well, of course I disagree. The governor had said repeatedly he was not going to have a special session unless the House of Representatives came forward with a plan that would solve the problem. He was asked to have the session. A number of senators wrote a letter asking that he do so. He consulted with the Speaker and the President and decided that there was enough of a commitment to get the ball rolling and to go a long way toward solving the cliff, and hopefully during the session there would have been a way to reach the entire amount that was needed so we wouldn't face the cuts that we're facing, but it didn't happen.
Cameron Henry says the governor simply couldn't rally his side. That's the bottom line. Agree, disagree, somewhere in the middle?
Of course I disagree. Anytime there's a massive failure like this, everybody can point fingers at everybody else, and that's going to be what's going to happen now in the aftermath of this. But it was pretty obvious that the Republicans control the House. The Speaker is the leader of the House, and his responsibility is to marshal votes when he said he's going to do so, and it simply didn't happen. And now, of course, everybody's going to want to say, well, the governor didn't do this. Well, the governor had a plan, the Speaker proposed a plan, none of it came together. The consequences now are going to be just what we've been talking about for months. Nobody is going to know whether or not the money is available for TOPS until later in the year, after most people are in the process or making decisions of where to go to school. We've gotten letters already from our private partners saying, if you're not going to pay me in accordance with the agreement, we're not going to be able to provide the services you're expecting. A number of private employers are probably going to be giving notices that they're going to be laying off people because the money, there's no guarantee that the money is going to be there come July 1. There are a lot of dominoes that start falling now as a result of the fact that we have this huge uncertainty about what our budget will look like come July 1 or whether we'll even have one come July 1.
You guys, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Despite all that, I mean, obviously the governor, in his remarks yesterday, continues to be optimistic about saying we've got to come together and do this, that the majority of the legislature wants this to happen. They just need to be led.
Will you be looking for other ways to make cuts? There's a loud voice in our state that wants no more taxes. You have to be hearing it.
Well, of course, nobody wants to pay more taxes. The governor doesn't want to have to do this, but we're painted into a corner of the legislature creating temporary taxes that fall off the books. They have to be replaced. As we've said all along, We're simply looking to replace revenue that's disappearing. And in fact, the governor's plan is significant, about $150 million less than actually the money that's falling off. We're going to be making cuts no matter what. But we've done what we've had to do in terms of making a proposal on how the money will be spent. Now that the worm turns, it's up to the House of Representatives, the people who've been saying, let's cut our way out of this problem. And Allen's been one of them. Now, show us the cuts. You don't like the cuts the governor said we're going to have to do if we don't have this money? You tell us where you think we can cut. I promise you they won't be able to do it. I dare them to do it because I don't believe they'll be able to do so. It's easy to talk about making the cuts. It's much more difficult to say, let's put it on paper, and this is what I would do, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have the money. I've been telling you we'll cut our way out of it. Here's how I do it. You need to be asking every member of the legislature, where are you going to cut? Show us your cuts.
But our general fund budget is up to $9.4 billion. Could we roll it back to the $8.7 billion when the governor took over?
And not without making the cuts that we have to make. And by the way, the general fund is $200 million less than it was. Everybody keeps talking about that, but if you look at the documents the House fiscal staff has prepared, the state general fund is down. And the cuts are going to have to be made somewhere. And as we've talked about before on your show, because of the constitutional limitations, the area from which you can cut is very limited, and unfortunately it hits the things that are the biggest priorities of the state because they're the biggest chunk of the state general fund budget, and that is health and higher education, including TOPS.
The governor is still that the shortfall is about $1 billion. Republicans in the House, I know they were saying that it's closer to 400,000, and that you can cut 400,000 with relative ease and painlessly. I'm thinking you don't agree with that.
No, and you're saying 400,000. You mean 400 million?
Or 400 million. I'm sorry.
That's not what they said. Everybody acknowledges that the cliff is $994 million. The estimate, and it's just an estimate at this point, we haven't even had it certified by the Revenue Estimating Conference. This is what most people believe, is that we'll realize about $302 million from the federal tax changes. That knocks the cliff down from 994 to 600 some odd, not 400 some odd. And I'm telling you, cutting 400 million, cutting 600 million from the budget is not easy. But the response is, okay, all you people who say let's do it with cuts, tell us where you're going to do it. That's a very fair question, isn't it? If somebody says I can cut the budget, we don't need this money, fine, show us where you're going to do it. They can't do that. And get those folks on the air and have them articulate to you specifically where those cuts are going to come from and what they're going to be, and have them also say what the consequences of that will be.
We sure will. Administration Commissioner Jay Darden, I'll send you some boxed wine and some tissues. And I won't
be watching. Don't worry.
Well, give the boxed wine and the tissues to the wife for tonight.
She may be watching. I have to confess.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate your time.
Okay.
651, it's 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL traffic time. Ruben's ready.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic on Hearn Avenue near Ford Street. And we have some traffic delays on Westgate Drive near Barksdale Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will bring sunshine with a high of 71, then chilly under clear skies tonight, low 36. Sunshine and cooler, high 59 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
6:52. It's 8 before 7 o'clock. Sports update. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The Woodlawn Knights battle McDonough 35 in a Class 4A semifinal in the LHSAA Boys Basketball State Tournament in Lake Charles at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Coach Kenny Sykes' crew is 30-5 this season, 2 wins away from a state title. LSU is back on the diamond tonight, facing crosstown foe Southern at 6:30 at Alec Box Stadium. We'll have the game for you on 1130 The Tiger. In Ruston, Louisiana Tech welcomes down the road neighbor Grambling to J.C. Love Field. The G-men are coming off a series win over Prairie View last week, while the Dogs won 2 of 3 in the Frisco Classic, including a win over previously unbeaten Texas A&M. Those 10th-ranked Aggies host Northwestern State in the first of 2 games tonight in College Station. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.655, Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Download the KEEL app. It's free, presented by Office Furniture Source, because you can listen all the darn time in your car, even if you're on the planet Mars.
You could be in Zimbabwe. You could be in
the highway
Ames,
system,
Iowa.
The highway system in Zimbabwe. We should aspire to have the highway system of Zimbabwe.
Really?
It's
sad
not,
but true.
I want to talk in the 7 o'clock hour, if we have time, about a movie that I think you would love.
Okay.
And I was thinking about this last night, and I think it is a movie. In fact, it won the movie. It won the Best Picture at the Oscars Sunday. The Shape of
Water?
Yes, I think you would absolutely love it.
It's women loving fish.
I think you would absolutely love it. Think of it as Beauty and the Beast, like somebody stuck their nose in yesterday.
Yeah.
And said it's like...
It's kind of freaky.
I'm thinking...
I don't like kissing fish.
I'm thinking you would love this movie, and I think you should. Is there a way you can steal it from somebody? I mean,
yeah, I can get it.
It's not like intellectual stealing. The theft of intellectual property is not real high on your list.
You've seen it?
I read the synopsis.
And you think I'll like it?
And I know the director, Guillermo del Toro, and what he's done in the past. Yes, I think you would know.
Very talented.
I think you would love it. I think
really?
I think it would. Yes.
But it creeps me out to see this woman sucking gills with a fish.
It's interesting because you just described the end. Watch it. Get back to me. We'll talk about it later. 6:56. Here's Rush on KEEL.
In the Democrat Party, young liberals are lining up in droves to take out the old Jurassic Park Democrats. Dianne Feinstein, California's elder senator, is the poster girl for these troubles. A few weeks ago, California's party machine refused to endorse her for re-election. Illinois House Democrat Daniel Lipinski facing a tough challenge from progressive Marie Newman. Her supporters are framing him as an anti-woman dinosaur, anti-woman Democrat. You believe it? In Texas, established Democrats are so worried about a Houston seat that the Democrat Congressional Campaign Committee unloaded an Oppo research campaign on the progressive challenger. Progressives erupted with massive anger because the DCC is supposed to be neutral in primaries. The New York Times reported over the weekend that the battles to define the Democrat Party are being fought in safe Democrat districts, places like Boston, Chicago, New York. Younger progressives, who are often women, people of color, or both, are running against establishment Democrat men. Now, based on liberal Democrats' identity politics, these choices should be easy. If Democrat men face Democrat women, obviously the men should step aside and let the women win. If it's a person of color, people of non-color should step aside, unless the challenger is gay or transgendered or here illegally. And if they don't believe in climate change, then, oh, well, I've lost track of what they're doing. Today's technology makes things easier because everything's connected. Your cell phone, your tablet, even your smart TV, all connected to one account, and they're all connected to your Wi-Fi. It only takes just one weak link for a cyber thug criminal to break in and obtain your data. And that's why the new LifeLock identity theft protection now adds the power of Norton security to your devices. Now, while LifeLock uses proprietary technology to detect threats to your identity, the addition of Norton security helps protect up to 5 of your devices from online threats. And if there's a problem, LifeLock's agents will work to fix it. Now, of course, no one can prevent all identity theft or cybercrime or monitor all transactions in all businesses. But new LifeLock with Norton gives you more protection for today's connected world. Join now, get 10% off your first year. Go online to lifelock.com and enter the promo code RUSH. That's lifelock.com. Remember, promo code RUSH.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic on Hearn Avenue near Ford Street. And we have some traffic delays on Westgate Drive near Barksdale Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will bring sunshine with a high of 71, then chilly under clear skies tonight, low 36. Sunshine and cooler, high 59 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.
Said the House Republican leadership did not negotiate in good faith. There was an agreement ahead of time. There has never been an agreement. There has never been close to an agreement. So if anybody wasted the state's money and our time, we don't know that we need to raise taxes. I mean, I don't think we do. It's the biggest budget we've ever had, even without the tax increases. It's not necessary. We can balance the state budget. We can cut a little bit that nobody will notice, a little trim off the top. And calling the special session was a boondoggle. It was a mistake. I think he knew better, but he went ahead and did it anyway, and going completely against what he said before. So this session never should have been called because there never was an agreement, and there never was much hope for success.
Alan, the way you make it, Louisiana's money.
That's exactly what it was. You got to keep in mind he is a radical leftist. He is a Bernie Sanders leftist. He wants as much money in the state coffers that he can get. And that's why he keeps using this $994 million figure, which everybody knows is not accurate. The number's closer to $400 to $500 million. But he keeps saying, I need $994 million or nothing. And essentially he told us, you need to pass $994 million of tax increases. And we said, we're not going to do that. We might give you $300 to $400 million. I voted against everything, but we were willing to negotiate and say, we'll give you $300 to $400 million. He said, no, I need $994, which is not a real number. And that's what makes me so mad. And that's why I said he told a bald-faced lie. And that's why I said he told a bald-faced lie at the House floor, because he did. Because the deficit is not $994 million. The deficit is $994 million. The deficit is somewhere around 5 and give or take 50 either way. He wants as much money. He wants as much money.
Free past 7 o'clock, Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Miss Erin down yonder has local news up next.
State lawmakers go home. They didn't do a whole heck of a lot
Thank
except
heavens.
spend your money.
No, well, I don't care about that.
Flooding in the area, water starting to recede, thank goodness, and a big chase through Bossier Parish.
Lisa Johnson, Bossier Chamber of Commerce, she's in D.C., the nation's capital, or as John Kennedy refers to it, what did he say? I got to get my passport ready. I'm going back to Washington. A movie I know Erin will love, and we chatted with Jay Darden last hour, and to say the least, he disagrees with Representative Alan Seabaugh. But we've got the Seabaugh cut from yesterday. Hold on, we will play it back. Fletcher in sports and traffic and weather, and it's all here this hour coming up on Keel.
KEEL News now.
The sheriff's substation closes due to high water. Matt Parker with the latest.
With the Red River still causing flooding in Shreveport and Bossier, the Bossier Parish Sheriff's Department has decided to close their substation on the Teague Parkway until waters recede. As the river crested yesterday, water from the rain-swollen river was flooding the substation's parking lot. While the facility is temporarily closed, citizens can handle their business at the Sheriff's Office on Viking Drive and the Bossier Parish Courthouse in Benton. From 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
Crews in Shreveport waiting for area parks to dry out so they can begin the cleanup process. Once the floodwaters recede, SPAR will be able to evaluate the damage, clean up the debris, and make the needed repairs. Of all the parks impacted by the flooding, SPAR officials say Riverview Park will most likely need the biggest repairs. State lawmakers go home after spending 15 days in a special session and failing to find a solution for the $1 billion fiscal cliff. Political analyst Clancy DeBose says lawmakers spent a lot of taxpayer money for very little return. No revenue bills will be heard in the upcoming regular session. DeBose says the gridlock could hurt some lawmakers' chances at re-election.
The legislature's approval is below 30%. It's probably going to go below 20% after this. This is a legislative failure peculiar to the House because the Senate never had a shot.
The governor is accusing House Speaker Taylor Barra of reneging on a deal that was cut before the session started. Edwards says the House has failed to provide a long-term solution to our fiscal crisis.
For the second time in as many years, just go back to the fiscal session last year when we should have fixed these problems, not a single bill to address the cliff moved out of the House of Representatives for consideration by the Senate.
Now, the governor and lawmakers are working on a plan to end the coming regular session early so they can have another tax debate. The 7 parents in Bossier Parish who filed suit against the school district want to remain anonymous during the legal proceedings. The parents say they fear for the safety of themselves and their children. The group is suing the Bossier school system for allegedly forcing unwanted and unconstitutional religious messages on their children. Numerous social media posts were made after news of the suit broke that threatened violence against the families and all non-believers. A man is busted after a robbery and chase with police. Bill St. Andre faces several charges after he held a couple of people at gunpoint, robbed them, and led deputies on a chase. 2,000 state inmates were released last year as part of Louisiana's criminal justice reform. Senator John Kennedy calls the program a disaster. He says these kinds of changes are part of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's agenda.
If you took Speaker Pelosi, turned her upside down, and shook her, Governor Edwards would fall out of her pocket.
Kennedy says someone is going to get killed at the hands of one of these inmates released early. The Caddo Animal Shelter will be offering free rabies shots on March 10th. The first 500 residents to bring their pet to the shelter will be eligible for the free shot. During the special event, pet microchipping will be offered at a discounted rate of just $7. Lawmakers get to work Monday for the regular session. Baton Rouge Representative Edmund Jordan seeking to introduce a bill to legalize the recreational use of marijuana. Jordan says if Louisiana were to legalize pot, It wouldn't give citizens the right to smoke it wherever they want, though.
I don't think people should smoke marijuana and drive vehicles. I think we should have some strict rules related to it to make sure that if people want to partake in it, that they do it in the safest manner possible.
Jordan says this legislation could help with our state's budget deficits. Colorado, the first state to legalize marijuana, pulled in nearly $200 million in taxes, while Washington state is expected to bring in over $700 million between 2017 and 2019. Republicans are pleading with President Trump to back off his threat of international tariffs, but at this point, he says he won't. And an Arizona teenager says she was denied service at a Starbucks drive-thru after she tried to order her Frappuccino while riding her horse. I'm Erin McCarty from 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Nine past 7 o'clock, KEEL traffic update. Hello, Ruben.
Starting to see some slow-moving traffic on North Market near North Hearn Avenue, and we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Benton Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will bring sunshine with a high of 71, then chilly under clear skies tonight, low 36. Sunshine and cooler, high 59 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Good morning. It's 12 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. The KEEL, that KEEL app is a free download presented by Office Furniture Source. It's awesome. You don't win any prizes or anything. We're kind of working on that.
Yeah, got Bossier Chamber President Lisa Johnson joining us this morning live from Washington, D.C.
Good morning.
What on earth are you doing there? You lobbying to bring jobs and money back, right?
We're working just as hard as we can. So, yes, it is our spring fly-in with our partners in the area, the Shreveport Chamber and the NLCOG and Barksdale Forward, and we're here to lobby on behalf of our area to make sure that we do bring the money back, or at least keep the money that's been promised to us.
Top priorities, Lisa?
Say that again?
Your top priorities as you meet with
Oh,
lawmakers.
yes. Well, our top priorities have always been, and particularly for this visit, again, Barksdale Air Force Base, and then, of course, our waterway issues with the Red River.
What about the I-20 interchange to get to Barksdale? That's on the list,
That's
too.
right. That is all a part of that, yes. The I-20, 220 access road into Barksdale Air Force Base is the number one priority. Getting the gate within that is a priority so that we can get to that weapons storage unit that is placed in the budget here in the future. And so all of it's related to what's happening at the state level as well, so that they will appropriate Garvey bonds from the federal level to make sure that all of that funding does occur.
Who are you guys meeting with? What's on the agenda?
Well, today our first meeting is with Senator Kennedy, and then we're going to see Senator Cassidy, and then we'll be going to the U.S. Chamber for a briefing, and we'll be then going to Department of Transportation, and then actually today, what's really new on the agenda with the latest announcement of General Dynamics and CSRA is that we will be meeting with General Dynamics to get a better understanding of what that company does and what they're going to be doing in our area. So looking forward to that meeting, and then we conclude today with Representative Abraham.
Now, you just mentioned General Dynamics. That is one of the big boy money. One of the big boy money targets, if you will, for your trip up there. Who else are you guys looking at maybe trying to attract to the Arklatex?
Well, you can't, Robert, you know that. You can't always say who you're looking to attract because it could interfere with negotiations and stuff. But just know that we're always working on behalf of Northwest Louisiana to bring as many jobs home and the money home. So that we can continue to grow and prosper.
But you want to give us a hint or two, right? I mean, just a little...
Maybe a three-wheeled car company or something like that?
No, three-wheeled car company. No.
I can assure you on this trip, we're not meeting with any three-wheeled car companies.
The president you're there at a really critical time because the president is going to ask Congress for $716 billion in defense spending, and it looks like there's money in this budget that would actually beef up Barksdale. You're probably not, it's just breaking this morning or last night in the Washington Post, but you'll get a chance to hear more about that today.
Right.
You're kind of on the cutting edge, right?
Right, we really are, and with our partners, especially with NLCOG and Barksdale Forward, staying in tune to what's happening with the Department of Defense budget and what have you. We know that some of that money is coming down to Barksdale. Exactly how much, when, and all of that has to be appropriated because it can be in a budget, but then it's got to be appropriated. But we're talking about the extending the B-52, re-engineering of it, and then, of course, the access road and things of that nature. So things are looking really, really good for us, but we have to make sure that we maintain that relationship up here so that we are not forgotten and someone else sneaks in.
The NLCOG folks are there with you, I assume, and part of their big push is the completion of I-49. Does the Bossier Chamber have a position on that, on what should be done with I-49 from 220 down to where it meets I-20?
We did. We went to the meetings that were had about a year ago or so and wrote letters of support and actually went and testified locally for the inner city portion of it. So because it's what's good for Shreveport and it's obviously good for Bossier and all of Northwest Louisiana. So we are eagerly awaiting for that I-49 extension to be completed.
So you've got let me see, you, the Bossier Chamber, Shreveport Chamber folks, you said were there, the NLCOG, the North Louisiana Council on Governments. Of that organization, of that not-so-formal group, who is there from our area?
Kent Rogers, the executive director, is here to talk about the transportation issues and assist with that and how all the monies go along. Each one of us has a different area that we're an expert in those areas. And, the chambers can come up and we can talk and we can let them know that we've got 900 to 1,800 businesses with hundreds of thousands of employees that are supporting all of this. But when it gets down to the nitty gritty and talking the specifics of how is this funding going to work and that funding going to work, you want to make sure that you do have your experts with you, and that would be Kent Rogers at NLCOG for the transportation and infrastructure issues, and Murray Visor with Barksdale Forward for the Barksdale issues, for the maintaining and sustaining and growing the missions at Barksdale Air Force Base.
Well, Lisa, do me a favor. Will you talk to Senator Kennedy and Senator Cassidy about maybe a four-wheeled car company coming here?
I will let them know that.
We would love that. We've got a big facility. Would be happy to have them.
If it comes down to it, we could have a 5 instead of a 3. I'm just saying.
We could.
If we're going for the non-traditional vehicle, I just would rather have a 5.
I'd take a 2-wheel. Let's put a motorcycle plant out there.
Miss Lisa, have an excellent day. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it as always, and I know you will be representing, as the kids say, us in the finest manner.
Yes. Well, if I can quickly, let y'all know that tomorrow we'll be meeting with Congressman Mike Johnson, and we'll be doing a Pentagon briefing, and then we'll get to see Representative Scalise. So,
good.
Majority. So, we will not be finished until tomorrow.
When you're at the Pentagon, try the edible paper. It's amazing.
Okay, I will. Thanks, Erin.
Oh, my God. 19 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel traffic update. Here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Uri Drive and Southfield Road. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Old Linden Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will bring sunshine with a high of 71, then chilly under clear skies tonight, low 36. Sunshine and cooler, high 59 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
.101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Time for sports. Here's Tim.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The Woodlawn Knights battle McDonough 35 in a Class 4A semifinal in the LHSAA Boys Basketball State Tournament in Lake Charles at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Coach Kenny Sykes' crew is 30-5 this season, 2 wins away from a state title. LSU is back on the diamond tonight, facing crosstown foe Southern at 6:30 at Alec Buck Stadium. We'll have the game for you on 1130 The Tiger. In Ruston, Louisiana Tech welcomes down the road neighbor Grambling to J.C. Love Field. The G-men are coming off a series win over Prairie View last week, while the Dogs won 2 of 3 in the Frisco Classic, including a win over previously unbeaten Texas A&M. Those 10th-ranked Aggies host Northwestern State in the first of 2 games tonight in College Station. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
24 past 7 o'clock. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. A just discovered tweet from the head of the Louisiana University, the chancellor of the Louisiana University system.
Jim Henderson. Yeah, Dr. Jim says, congratulations to Jefferson Parish Schools on your selection of Cade Brumley as superintendent. Vision, leadership, and character personified.
This is from the Advocate last evening. The Jefferson Parish School Board voted 9-0 Monday night to hire DeSoto Parish Public School Superintendent Cade Brumley to head Jefferson Schools, pending the successful negotiation of a contract.
And NOLA.com saying today, Cade Brumley appointed Jefferson Parish's new school superintendent. Now, we've reached out to Dr. Cade, and here's the way these work, because I've been through a few of them.
Don't hold your breath.
As
accessible and kind and professional.
Oh, he'll call. He may not go on the air.
I just don't hold your breath.
But here's the way these super searches work. They pick their guy. They offer him a package. They negotiate. He may have an agent handling it for him. I don't know. But then they negotiate the salary, the allowances, the perks and all that stuff. And then if they can come to terms, then you move forward. If you can't come to terms, it may not be a done deal. And DeSoto could also do a counter if they want.
Earlier in the meeting, Brumley, the sole candidate to take over the top job at the state's largest school system, fielded wide-ranging questions submitted by the public and school board members. Brumley promised he would provide written answers to all 350
Wow. Well, that's what he's doing. He's working.
questions submitted. The questions have been posted online. Brumley was questioned about qualifications, leadership style, views on teacher salaries, school security, facilities, morale, curriculum, resources, and more.
This is an interesting quote from the Brummer. Right now, he's talking to the Jefferson School Board. Right now, you're losing more teachers than you should because people are coming into Jefferson Parish, getting a few years' experience, and then leaving for better pay. We have had teachers leaving from Caddo to go to DeSoto for better pay, where pay was a real priority in DeSoto, and they were paid better. So he's done that there, and looks like maybe Jefferson.
When he took over DeSoto, they were, to put it mildly, not one of the top-ranked school districts in the state, and now they're consistently in the top 10. Fair enough?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to give him a call here in a minute and see if there's what he can say.
Because he hasn't answered your 25 texts.
Do you think he hits the ignore button?
I think he's probably... This is not something at this point he probably wants to talk about publicly.
Erin, and what did you literally just say? What did you say that the school board would do in this situation? They offer him a package, right?
Yeah.
He's probably having breakfast and negotiating and trying to get all the details sorted before he comes back home to finish the school year.
But I'm his girl.
He might have more important things to do than talk to you egotistical maniac.
This is probably one of the better examples of an Erin McCarty don't you know who I am moment.
Oh, man.
28 past 7 o'clock, 1017 FM, 710 Keel, still on the way this hour. We need to talk about the movie I want you to see. And we need to replay the Alan Seabaugh. Don't do fish face.
Okay.
We need to do the Alan Seabaugh replay, a little response, if you will, from a statement in the 6 o'clock hour by Commissioner of Administration Jay Darden that, it always seems to work out. The governor and Jay say one thing. Alan says another. And then Jay says, Alan never said that.
Yeah.
Let's go to the audio tape. We'll do that in just a couple of seconds.
Also, after 8 o'clock, Judge Paul Young is going to join us in studio. We have a crisis coming right here in our area with regard to housing 17-year-olds now in juvenile facilities.
I'll be damned. We don't have enough money. Who'd have seen that coming? 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Traffic time. Ruben's here.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic on Hearn Avenue near Ford Street. And we have some traffic delays on Westgate Drive near Barksdale Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will bring sunshine with a high of 71, then chilly under clear skies tonight, low 36, sunshine and cooler, high 59 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Lawmakers go home after spending 15 days in a special session and failing to find a solution for the $1 billion fiscal cliff. Political analyst Clancy DeBose says the same partisan divides that tanked the February special session still exist going forward.
It's almost a dead certainty that there will be a special session in June. And the problems aren't going to change. They will simply be under the gun, and there will be a much higher level of uncertainty.
Republican Representative Cameron Henry says the governor failed to communicate exactly what he wanted or how large of a shortfall that needed to be made up.
We go back to the same problem that we always have, is making sure we're all starting off with the right number. And clearly the numbers aren't clear for him, both on his vote count or on the actual shortfalls.
But Edwards is placing the blame on House Speaker Taylor Barra.
Simply put, the failure of this special session is a result of a total lack of leadership and action in the House of Representatives. A spectacular failure of leadership.
Lawmakers get back together for the regular session beginning on Monday. A man is busted after a robbery and chased with police. Bill St. Andrew faces several charges after he held a couple of people at gunpoint, robbed them, then led Bossier deputies on a high-speed chase. He allegedly attempted to rob a woman outside of a convenience store on Highway 157. When that robbery didn't go as planned, St. Andrew then allegedly held another man at gunpoint, took his money, and led police on a chase. St. Andrew was eventually stopped in Webster Parish without incident. Parents get death threats over the religious lawsuit in Bossier. Matt Parker with that.
The 7 parents in Bossier Parish who filed suit against the school district want to remain anonymous during the legal proceedings. The parents say they fear for the safety of themselves and their children. The group is suing the Bossier Parish School District for allegedly forcing unwanted and unconstitutional religious messages on their children. Numerous social media posts were made after news of the lawsuit broke that threatened violence against the families and all non-believers. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
With the red still causing flooding issues across the region, the Bossier Sheriff's Department has decided to close the substation on the Teague Parkway until the waters recede. As the river crested yesterday, water from the rain-swollen river was flooding the substation's parking lot. Now, crews in Shreveport waiting for the waters to recede so they can begin the cleanup process. SPAR officials will be able to evaluate the damage, clean up debris, and make needed repairs. Of all the parks affected by the flooding, SPAR officials say Riverview Park will most likely need the biggest repairs. Criminal justice reform in Louisiana is a hot topic across the state. U.S. Senator John Kennedy tells KEEL News, our governor is doing this simply for political reasons.
He's just following the national liberal democratic dogma, and they're going to get somebody killed.
Kennedy says if you turned House Speaker Nancy Pelosi upside down, quote, Governor Edwards would fall out of her pocket. A former Trump campaign aide is a little bit skeptical after first challenging authorities to arrest him and declaring in various TV interviews that he will not cooperate with Special Prosecutor Robert Mueller. The former aide, Sam Nunberg, told the AP that he's angry over Mueller's request that he appear before a grand jury and turn over thousands of communications with other ex-officials. But he now predicts he'll end up cooperating with them. The woman's antelope hunt is on again in Wyoming. State lawmakers have passed a bill that would provide 80 pronghorn antelope hunting licenses to a special woman's hunt in Wyoming. And that would give it the same number of antelope licenses that the state has provided to the long-held one-shot antelope hunt in Lander, which chiefly involves male hunters. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
1017 FM and 710 Keel. And Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, and in the movie I want you to see, and I don't know if you can track it down tonight because it's still in theaters, obviously, is The Shape of Water.
Yeah, you can rent it or buy it,
The best picture.
It just looks creepy.
I don't care.
Women kissing fish
I
just
don't
looks
care what you
creepy.
think. I just want you to watch it, and I would be willing to bet $20 that you'll come in tomorrow morning or whenever you see it and go, oh my God, that's the most awesome movie I've ever seen. Oh, it made me
Really?
cry. Oh, I loved it.
Oh, man. I do want to watch it. I really do.
I know. I've known you for nigh on 2 decades.
I'll love it.
And I think you would love this movie.
The Shape of Water.
Yeah. I haven't seen, don't get me wrong, I haven't seen it. I just know people that have, and I read a synopsis, a plot synopsis, and I think it is something that you would absolutely love.
Okay. It's women and fish? What's the deal?
Just stop that. Get that out of your head. Quit it.
But is it a love story?
Just stop. Just stop.
Okay.
Quit trying to talk yourself out of liking it. Trust me, it's basically, and I think Carter Next Door summed it up best, is reverse Beauty and the Beast. If you think of it in those terms.
Okay.
It's sort of like
Reverse Beauty and the Beast.
imagine Splash, the Tom Hanks with Daryl Hannah.
Okay.
Okay? It's like early 1960s, and it's like Cold War stuff, and I'm not going to talk about it anymore other than I want you to see it. I want you to make a maximum effort to see it today if you can.
I will make maximum effort.
And Guillermo del Toro is an amazing director. As weird as some of his movies are, all of them are absolutely stunning visually and are
Did you
just
see
awesome.
either of the Hellboy movies?
No.
Okay, those were pretty awesome if you enjoy that genre.
Okay.
Okay. By the way, did you see at the Oscars, the anti-gun crowd? Oh, hypocrisy reigns supreme. More than 500 armed Los Angeles police officers, and they spent nearly $500,000 more on armed security indoors, inside the facility, inside the arena.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
What, you're stunned?
Yeah.
You're stunned that all those people
Stunned.
standing up on stage wouldn't have their own armed security? The
Right.
same people who cry for open borders and yet live behind walls, the same people who cry for Obamacare and federalized and nationalized health care and yet have concierge physicians, the same people who tell you that you should pay $6 a gallon for gasoline and change the way you live and yet fly everywhere in private jets. You are stunned at their hypocrisy?
Yeah, just a smidgy.
Yes, so was I. 739, 1017 FM, 710 Keel traffic update. Ruben's ready.
The intersection at Uri Drive and East Stoner Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Traffic Street in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will bring sunshine with a high of 71, then chilly under clear skies tonight, low 36. Sunshine and cooler, high 59 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Shreveport Security Systems text line is waiting for you and your thoughts, opinions, and concerns. 318-392-1884. Last hour we had State Commissioner of Administration Jay Darden, and it's the Republicans' fault, and the Democrats, John Bell is a highly honorable man and went in with a plan. He had a deal. We didn't get a chance, unfortunately, and we're always up against the clock. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about how the special, well, you sort of update us on the special session, which seemed to have, and I think this is legit, but not in a bad way, according to Commissioner Darden, sort of unraveled, came apart.
Run aground.
Run aground is good.
Yeah, they really didn't pass much of anything.
Is that a bad thing? I would bet no.
It is not a bad thing because there was talk of a lot of taxes and a lot of changes that were going to impact our pocketbooks.
When we had Commissioner Darden on last week, correct me if I'm wrong, and I pointed this out, that his stance seemed to be that with the penny sales tax going off the books at the end of June, then what we need to do is make up that money somewhere. And so the special session was called to make up the money lost from the penny sales tax ending. Because if not, the state would be, as John Bell says repeatedly, fiscal cliff. Thank you very much. That was awesome.
Yeah.
So as we approach the fiscal cliff, but then the way Mr. J explained it was that despite the fact that the governor wanted, they were considering like a Stelly-like resumption, and what was it called? Tax bracket compression?
Something like this, something crazy
which
like
would
that.
have been like a 50% state income tax increase for a lot of people in Louisiana. The majority of those, the folks who made like $30,000 to $50,000 to $60,000 a year.
Middle income folks.
They were the ones who would have gotten bit on the butt by that increase. And there were lots of fees and registration costs. What do they call it? Revenue enhancements.
Yeah.
The point I was going to make was that despite that, Mr. J still said, in effect, that even if we pass all these things the governor wants, y'all still be getting a tax cut. I was like, what? So, back to what happened last night.
That they adjourned. They decided they didn't have the votes. It wasn't going to happen. Why wait another day? They had until like midnight tomorrow.
Now,
they said, we're wasting time. Let's just get out of here.
We had spoken with Representative Alan Seabaugh yesterday. And he said that Governor Edwards had promised a while back not to call a special session unless a deal was in place. Well, Alan said there was no deal in place. He goes in. Well, Jay said just the opposite. He said there was a deal in place all the while, and the Republicans reneged on the promise. Now, I have a couple of regrets. We didn't get a chance to ask about how the Black Legislative Caucus screwed things up for the Democrats.
Yeah.
I.e., they were saying we will only be in favor of now there was a quarter penny sales tax on the table. And the Democrats wanted that to go to the general fund, which is, as Erin repeatedly points out, larger than it's ever been. But the Democrats, John Bell and his boys, wanted a quarter penny sales tax among the other revenue enhancements they wanted.
Yep.
The Black Legislative Caucus said, we will only support your quarter penny sales tax, which in our mind hits everybody equally, i.e., the less money you make, the more of a burden it's going to be, i.e., our constituents, if you, John Bell and the Democrats, will go along with a Stelly-like income tax increase.
Right.
Now that Mr. Darden did not address. One of the things that he did cover, one of the things he did talk about was what Alan Seabaugh told us yesterday. He said, despite the governors clinging to that $900 million plus budget shortfall, Alan said again and again it was between $400 and $500 million. And I pointed that out. I said, the governor is hanging on to that $900 and something million number. But Mr. Seabaugh said yesterday it was around $400 million. And he said, no. He never. Didn't you hear him say? That's not what he said.
Yeah.
Didn't you hear Jay Darden say to me, no, that's not what the Republicans are saying? right?
Yeah.
Here is Alan Seabaugh yesterday addressing how much, not $900 million by the government. Well, here's what Mr. Allen said yesterday.
He wants as much money in the state coffers that he can get. And that's why he keeps using this $994 million figure, which everybody knows is not accurate. The number's closer to $400 to $500 million. But he keeps saying, I need $994 million or nothing. And essentially he told us, you need to pass $994 million of tax increases. And we said, we're not going to do that. We might give you $300 to $400 million. I voted against everything, but we were willing to negotiate and say, we'll give you $300 to $400 million. He said, no, I need $994, which is not a real number. And that's what makes me so mad. And that's why I said he told a bald-faced lie at the House floor, because he did. Because the deficit is not $994 million. The deficit is somewhere around 5 and give or take 50 either way.
I mean, I'm kind of old. Sometimes my hearing's starting to go, among other things. Hearing's the first thing to go. No, actually, it's the second, but that's not the point. I mean, I just didn't mishear what Alan had said yesterday, and I just wanted to be sure because there have been consistent gaps between what Governor John Bel Edwards says, what Jay Darden says, and what some of the other legislators have to say. So what happens next?
They meet Monday beginning in the regular session, but the good thing about that is that this is a non-fiscal year, so they can't raise taxes during the regular session. So they're just going to do other bills. They're going to talk a lot about legalized marijuana. We'll talk about school security, guns, those kind of things.
One of the things Alan pointed out yesterday in discussing that $400 or so million budget gap that the governor disputes. He said there's a lot of ways you can cut $400 million and not even know it's gone from the state budget.
Judge Paul Young joins us in studio just after 8. You don't want to miss that convo.
749, 1017 FM, 710 Keel, Tuesday traffic, Rubens ready.
The intersection at Uri Drive and East Stoner Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Traffic Street in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will bring sunshine with a high of 71, then chilly under clear skies tonight, low 36. Sunshine and cooler, high 59 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
It is 8 before 8 o'clock, 1017 FM, 710 Keel Sports Update. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The Woodlawn Knights battle McDonough 35 in a Class 4A semifinal in the LHSAA Boys Basketball State Tournament in Lake Charles at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Coach Kenny Sykes' crew is 30-5 this season, 2 wins away from a state title. LSU is back on the diamond tonight, facing crosstown foe Southern at 6:30 at Alec Box Stadium. We'll have the game for you on 1130 The Tiger. In Ruston, Louisiana Tech welcomes down the road neighbor Grambling to J.C. Love Field. The G-men are coming off a series win over Prairie View last week, while the Dogs won 2 of 3 in the Frisco Classic, including a win over previously unbeaten Texas A&M. Those 10th-ranked Aggies host Northwestern State in the first of 2 games tonight in College Station. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
We're going to talk about you like you're not here. 1017 FM, 710 Keel, 755. Keel,
I bet he got forced to watch this last night.
Attorney Paul Young will be joining us just
No,
after.
judge.
Judge?
Judge.
Well, I mean, you got to be an attorney before you be a judge.
Well, yeah, he was a
Although
great
I
attorney.
think I would be an awesome judge.
Yeah.
And you said Paul Young's going to, now, Mr. Paul and I have not met before, and you said Paul Young's going to be here to talk about juvenile justice stuff, and I said, what's he do? You said, well, he's an attorney. So I was just
No,
quoting.
I said he's a judge. I would have
Really?
never said that because I know
Okay,
better.
I have a question. I have a question. Every time we what? Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just trying to clear the air with
Were ya?
some of the smoke she's blowing over there.
Yeah, I know.
Hey.
So the last time we had a judge on here, he ended up having to recuse himself from a whole busload of cases. Is this going to happen again?
I hope not. I hope not. I just want to
And
know
I'm
if he's
talking
going to
about a
be
guy
forced
on
to watch The Bachelor and watch Harry
I'm
Lyndike
talking about
tonight.
the guy in the Louisiana State Supreme Court.
Yeah, I know. No, he won't have to
Could
do
this
that.
happen again?
No, it couldn't happen again. We're not going to talk about pending cases before his court.
That's what happened last time.
Well, you know, if we
In
deviate
fact,
and he
going
goes
into-
crazy,
What
then,
was the gentleman's name? I apologize.
Scott Creighton.
And Mr. Creighton said, Judge Creighton said going in, now you do understand, I can't talk about cases pending before the court. And you said, we won't ask you. And I said, if we do, just point out to us that you can't talk about this, that,
Yeah,
or the
you
other.
doofuses, I can't
And
talk
at
about that.
no point did anything like that come up. And yet 45 days later, he has to recuse himself from a case because of an interview on this radio
Well,
station.
we got to talking about the death penalty,
There were
and he made
attorneys-
comments about the death penalty.
There were
that,
attorneys who were like filing motions.
Oh, yeah.
Demanding copies of interviews that we just happened to keep.
Yep.
7:56. Judge Paul is coming up just a couple of seconds. What we may not have enough money to do stuff. Why? I am stunned. 756, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Sean Hannity.
Waking up on the right side. This is the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
And in predictable fashion, Sunday night's Oscars and host Jimmy Kimmel immediately bring politics into the show. Within his 11-minute monologue, Kimmel managed to bash, President Trump, Vice President Pence, Fox News, call for gun control, while he and every other Oscar attendee were protected by armed police pretty much everywhere. And according to Variety, the Oscars averaged an 18.9 household rating, 32 share of Nielsen's metered market overnight ratings. That's down approximately 16%. As a matter of fact, it crashed to the lowest viewership in the history of the Oscars. Yikes. Apparently, lecturing Americans that their values are wrong isn't working. Maybe they'll try something different.
From coast to coast, from sea to shining sea, it's the Sean Hannity Show.
Hiring is important. People are what make your business work. But how do you find the right talent? ZipRecruiter makes it simple. One click sends your job ad to over 100 of the web's leading job boards. But ZipRecruiter doesn't stop there. Their smart matching technology will instantly alert quality candidates about your job. That means you'll start getting great candidates with the right experience almost as soon as your job is posted. No wonder 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. The right candidates are out there. This is how you find them. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
People from businesses of all sizes trust ZipRecruiter for their hiring needs. We're so confident ZipRecruiter will get you better results than anywhere else. We'll let you try it free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
$7:59, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. One more look at traffic this hour. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at Uri Drive and East Stoner Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Traffic Street in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will bring sunshine with a high of 71, then chilly under clear skies tonight, low 36, sunshine and cooler, high 59 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 1017 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL, Shreveport.
3 past 8 o'clock. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Down yonder, Miss Erin has local news up next.
Well, lawmakers wrap things up early. I guess that's a good thing. And they didn't raise our taxes, so I guess that's a good thing, too. Red River still, well, now it's actually on the, what do you call it, on the rise, on the lower? What's the word?
It's on the lower. It's on the down low.
It's on the down low.
It's on the down low. It's receding like my hairline.
How much damage did it leave? We'll talk about that.
Oh, you're talking about the mud, not my hairline.
Mm-hmm.
Judge Paul Young joins us at just a couple of seconds away. A crisis at the, I'll just let him tell you guys about it.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? There's not enough space or money. What? Since when? Plus Fletcher in sports and traffic and weather, and it's all coming up this hour, and it's right here on Keel.
Information. Keel News now.
No action by lawmakers during the special session. Political analyst Clancy DeBose says lawmakers spend a lot of taxpayer money for very little return.
And it costs the taxpayers between $750,000 and $900,000 for them to go up there and accomplish nothing.
Republican Representative Cameron Henry says the governor just couldn't rally his side.
I think the idea of the special session was not very thought out very well by the governor. He clearly didn't have the support of the folks that he believed he had, meaning the Democratic caucus, specifically the Black caucus.
A state representative, Alan Seabaugh of Shreveport, telling Keel News it's been a waste of time.
Calling the special session was a boondoggle. It was a mistake. I think he knew better, but he went ahead and did it anyway.
Lawmakers get back for the regular session beginning Monday, March 12th. Now, when they get back to work, one bill they'll discuss is legalizing marijuana for recreational use. Baton Rouge Representative Edmund Jordan says he wants to set up a way to tax the sale of cannabis.
I couldn't tell you exactly how much revenue it would generate at this time, but I would think that it would be in the hundreds of millions of dollars right now.
Colorado brings in about $200 million a year in taxes on marijuana. Louisiana drivers getting a bit of a break with falling gas prices. The statewide average is $2.33, but AAA's Don Redmond says don't get too comfortable with these lower prices as we move into the warmer months.
We're expecting those prices to start climbing March, April. Certainly by the time we get into May, we transfer the type of gasoline to a summer-grade gasoline.
The 7 parents in Bossier Parish who filed suit against the school system want to remain anonymous during the legal proceedings. The parents say they fear for the safety of themselves and their children. The group is suing the Bossier school system for allegedly forcing unwanted and unconstitutional religious messages on their children. Numerous social media posts were made after news of the lawsuit broke that threatened violence against the families and all non-believers. A man busted after robbery and chase with police. Matt Parker with that.
Bill St. Andre faces numerous charges after he held 2 people at gunpoint, robbed them, and led Bossier Parish deputies on a high-speed chase. St. Andre allegedly attempted to rob a woman outside of a convenience store on Highway 157. When that robbery didn't go as planned, St. Andre then allegedly held another man at gunpoint, took his money, and then led law enforcement on a chase. St. Andre was eventually stopped in Webster Parish without incident. From 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
With the Red River still causing flooding issues, the Bossier Sheriff's Department has closed the substation on the Teague Parkway. Also, crews in Shreveport waiting for area parks to dry out so they can begin the cleanup process. Once the floodwaters recede, SPAR will be able to evaluate the damage, clean up debris, and make needed repairs. Of all the parks affected by the flood, SPAR officials say Riverview Park will most likely need the biggest repairs. Louisiana Senator John Kennedy says the criminal justice reform program in our state has been a dismal failure so far.
But before you let these folks out on the street, you've got to know who you're letting out on the street, and you've got to know that they have a chance and a probability to live peacefully along with their fellow Americans. And none of that's being done. The program is administered by the Department of Corrections, which has demonstrated it's incompetence.
Kennedy says Governor Edwards is following the national liberal Democratic dogma, and this is going to get someone killed. The Caddo Animal Shelter will be offering free rabies shots on March 10th. The first 500 Caddo residents to bring their pet to the shelter will be eligible for the free shot. During the event, pet microchipping will also be offered at a discounted rate of $7. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Nine past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL traffic update. Ruben is right here.
Looking right now at some backed up traffic on I-49 northbound near Kings Highway due to a minor accident. And we're still keeping an eye on that major accident on Burcoon's Industrial Loop near Pines Road. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will bring sunshine with a high of 71, then chilly under clear skies tonight, low 36. Sunshine and cooler, high 59 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Eleven past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884. In studio is Judge Paul Young. Judge Paul.
Good morning.
Senior Young, whichever. I'm going to start with an email, if you don't mind, that you sent to Erin a couple of days ago. Erin, I am contacting you regarding a crisis that will occur this summer at our juvenile detention center. Already, it is the smallest in the South for any metropolitan area of our size. It runs at capacity now. In July, we will start having jurisdiction over 17-year-olds. Monroe, Lafayette, Lake Charles, Baton Rouge, New Orleans will be able to handle those increases because their centers are 50 to 100% larger than ours. We will have a crisis. I would like to discuss this further with you. Here, I am on the commission's, Caddo Commission, I assume, agenda for Thursday, March 8th. I have prepared a letter for the Times, etc., etc. So, tell us about this pending crisis, how it came to be, and who, if any, is working on a solution?
Well, first of all, the commission meeting has been rescheduled for the 22nd. We found out yesterday. So we got a little time to prepare for that. But we've been working with the commission since this law was passed back in 2016, knowing that we have the smallest detention center in the South, smaller even than cities smaller than us.
Excuse me, that 17-year-olds no longer would be housed in regular jail.
Right. They would be transferred from adult jurisdiction to juvenile.
Gotcha.
So right now we run at capacity with a 24-bed facility when Monroe has about double that. Little Rock, a sister city in Arkansas, has double that. So the basic problem is we've never really determined how large our detention center needs to be for a city like Shreveport. We just have 24 beds.
Was it already stretched to the limit? Was it already running at capacity? Before this legislation?
Oh, absolutely. That's the point.
Mm-hmm.
We've always been running at capacity. We've always had the smallest detention center in the South, but we've been able to manage that with some good decision making about who needs to be in detention and who doesn't. We've been able to manage it with having a very good pretrial electronic monitor and probation supervision system. And then post-trial, we have things for the kids other than just locking them up. We've got good programming. In fact, I want to make sure the commission is praised for the fact that they have funded what we perceive to be the best juvenile justice system in the state. The problem is we have the smallest detention center.
Of the 24 that are there now, this morning, you couldn't open the door for most of them. What kind of crimes are they in there for?
Right now we have, I'm just going through the list of today's or yesterday's detention center. Armed robbery, unauthorized use, simple burglary, principal to armed robbery. We have some serious offenders.
These aren't truants.
And these are 13 to 16-year-olds.
So how many are you going to get dumped on you when the 17-year-olds come to visit?
We've checked with the sheriff, and they house at any one time anywhere between 18 to 25 17-year-olds.
Doubling your number.
Now, how are you going to deal?
Well, with better decision-making about who needs to be there and who doesn't, which is what we pride ourselves in doing so far, we can reduce that, I'm sure, to down to at least 15, 17-year-olds.
15 more.
Well, 15, 17-year-olds coming in.
Plus 24 or whatever.
Plus the 24 that we have now.
Can you cram more beds into the existing space, or will you face a lawsuit?
Well, that's what they used to do in the past. But detention centers are now licensed. And we have 24 licensed beds. We have 3 pods of 8 beds each. And we have staff to supervise and manage that. The proposal before the commission, or taking before the commission, is that we need to double that. Because as I've just said, we are talking about having 15 minimum additional 17-year-olds coming in with an already packed detention center.
You're going to talk to the Caddo Commission on what is now, I guess, the 22nd. What does Paul Young, Judge Paul Young, experienced Judge Paul Young, recommend?
Well, right now, the commission that we've met with, the subgroup, they have a juvenile justice committee and other subgroups, and they agree that there is funding available to build those 3 extra pods. That would be at about $12 million. But they have that funding available. What they don't have available, they say, is the $3 to $4 million to run that facility every year. They have some funds that could be rededicated with the voter approval that would run it for about 4 years, but then that money would be gone. So that bounces back to the idea of the 1957 millage that was adopted by Caddo Parish residents. I believe it's I have the figures here, 1.2 mills.
It dates back to 1957?
It is 1.97 mills. That was adopted in 1957. The voters have at least once refused to raise that. The commission has responded by getting funds from other funds allocated to them with voter approval to kind of reallocate priorities, and that's how we have been able to finance the probation department and the detention staff and such up to this point. But with that being at capacity, and then adding the 17-year-olds, that's the crisis.
Okay, so let's assume tomorrow you wake up and they go, ta freaking da, we found $20 million. And you start working tomorrow. That's probably not going to be a facility upgrade that is all ready to go, shiny and new by July.
Certainly not. The problem, the solution to that is the legislature was somewhat forward-looking by saying July 1st, 17-year-olds who are charged with nonviolent offenses come to juvenile jurisdiction. And then 2 years later, 17-year-olds of whatever offense, violent offenses included, come to juvenile jurisdiction. So at the July 1st of this year, you'll have a type of offender that may or may not need to be housed pretrial. You'll have misdemeanor offenders, but you'll also have burglary offenders, which is a nonviolent offense, but a very serious felony, which often requires somebody being locked up. So it's going to be a crisis. It's just a delayed one.
Can you stay with us? Because I want to talk to you about the idea behind the law. Great idea, not a great idea, but another unfunded mandate from the state. Can we talk about that when we get back?
Yeah.
And since one of us in this room is a highly ranking city official, I'm sure she has a solution.
No, she doesn't.
More with Judge Paul Young in just a couple of seconds. 19 past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel traffic time. Yo, Ruben.
Looking right now at some backed up traffic on I-49 northbound near Kings Highway due to a minor accident. And we're still keeping an eye on that major accident on Burcoon's Industrial Loop near Pines Road. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will bring sunshine with a high of 71, then chilly under clear skies tonight, low 36. Sunshine and cooler, high 59 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Twenty-one past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel time for sports. Here's Tim.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The Woodlawn Knights battle McDonough 35 in a Class 4A semifinal in the LHSAA Boys Basketball State Tournament in Lake Charles at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Coach Kenny Sykes' crew is 30-5 this season, 2 wins away from a state title. LSU is back on the diamond tonight, facing crosstown foe Southern at 6:30 at Alec Box Stadium. We'll have the game for you on 11:30 The Tiger. In Ruston, Louisiana Tech welcomes down the road neighbor Grambling to J.C. Love Field. The G-men are coming off a series win over Prairie View last week, while the Dogs won 2 of 3 in the Frisco Classic, including a win over previously unbeaten Texas A&M. Those 10th-ranked Aggies host Northwestern State in the first of 2 games tonight in College Station. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
24 past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. If I'm talking fast, it's because we've got lots to cover with Judge Paul Young. I'm going to reread the email just to reset the segment for anybody that joined us. Erin writes, Judge Paul, I am contacting you regarding a crisis that will occur this summer at our juvenile detention center. It is already the smallest in the South for any metropolitan area. It runs at capacity now. In July, we will begin to have jurisdiction over 17-year-olds. Basically, you're getting a lot of new guys dumped on you, and you don't have the space.
Nor the money. From the state makes these laws, Paul. I'm sorry I call you Paul. They make these laws, but then they don't send any money attached with it. Is that a huge problem?
But at the same time, that's not really the problem.
Okay.
The problem is we have always had, at least since I've been on the bench since 1999, we have had the smallest detention center in the South.
Gotcha.
We have to have a larger detention center. We should have a larger one just to handle what we're doing now.
When you tell me,
we make arrangements, we make cuts here and decisions here, and expand our electronic monitor supervision so that we can manage that problem.
When you told me 24, and I've heard that number before, and my reaction is always, wait a second. We only have 24 room for 24 bad guys in Caddo Parish.
Right. Ask the police, ask the sheriff deputies that make the arrests, and see the kids that are turned around and get home practically before they do, because we can't take them in.
Do you have an issue, Paul, with and you probably do, with moving a 17-year-old who may be a hardened criminal into a facility where you may have 13 and 14-year-olds?
Well, that's one reason why the pod system is pretty good, in that we can keep them somewhat separate. And the commission has agreed, even if we don't increase the detention center, to add 3 or 4 extra detention staff for our budget. So
in other words,
to
what Erin's talking about is when you've got a 17-year-old in with a 13-year-old who, in a lot of cases, I mean, when I was 13, I was like 3 foot tall and weighed 60 pounds. You do see wisdom in separating those. Okay.
We have to do that. And we do that now, even in our 24-bed facility.
Gotcha.
The $12 million to expand the facility.
Right.
Would it, I mean, does this have to be all the bells and whistles? Can you do like a tent city sort of? I mean, can you do something on the cheap?
Not to kids.
You can't.
Steve Prater, Sheriff
Not
Prater,
allowed?
Not to kids.
Sheriff
no.
Prater has talked about, and I guess I don't know all the details, but about how parish prison systems like Bossier Max, whoever it happens to be, Caddo Correctional, they farm out prisoners or trade them or send them to other facilities elsewhere in the state, with our facility being, in your mind, hopefully temporarily small. If we're overcrowded and there are larger facilities in Monroe, Lafayette, et cetera, is the possibility to maybe, okay, kid, we don't have room for you here, we're sending you to Monroe for X amount of time?
They've not been willing to do that because they want the beds for people in their region. In fact, say in Lafayette or Lake Charles.
I want you to stop it. So basically what you're telling me is at the other facilities, despite their larger size, they ain't got room either.
Well, they serve a variety of, one serves a region, and so the occasional kid from a very small parish that needs to be detained, that's where they're going to go. But they're not going to serve a metropolitan area like Caddo that has the resources, theoretically at least, to take care of their own business.
Places
and farm that out to
places
somebody
like
else.
Bossier Parish, where I guess they use Johnny Gray Jones for their juveniles, but that's not really
We do too.
You do too.
That's
but,
where we
but
put
what's
our
Bossier
kids.
going to deal with when Johnny Gray Jones is full? What are they going to do with these 17-year-olds?
Well, Johnny Gray Jones is for non-secure, more of a group home type situation. It's not for delinquent children primarily. You can put misdemeanor offenders there, like shoplifters and such, that for some reason you need to put them in a place. But it's primarily for ungovernable, runaway type children rather than delinquent children.
But a parish like Bossier that doesn't have a juvenile lockup, Where do their 17-year-old armed robbers go?
They use Coshada. It's
Okay.
a regional detention center that serves that variety of rural parishes.
So to wrap up, when you go to the commission on the 22nd, what's the plan? What do you hope they'll do? How will all this turn out if in a perfect world?
While we have told them before, we need to make very clear exactly what the problem is, as I've tried to describe today, and present to them what we think should be done, and that is build the 3 pods, adding to our detention center, and funding the annual upkeep for that. Now, no, we're not hopeful, because they are aware of the anti-tax, anti-bigger government, even in the interest of public safety, that's the issue here, is public safety. And yet they recognize that the people are not willing to do that.
So you feel
what
like
we have talked about, and this is important,
Mm-hmm.
since it seems to be perhaps a trust issue. Oh, the commission has plenty of money, we don't need to give them any more. The thought has been to create a sort of a blue ribbon commission made up, I would think, primarily of the people that might oppose this extra money for the detention center, to look at the books, open up the books of the Caddo Parish Commission, have the people that might oppose this looking at those books.
Mm-hmm.
If they can find the money, by golly, great. And if they can't, then you either choose to fund it or you sacrifice public safety.
Last 30 seconds or so here. July 1st comes, you don't have a new facility. Would you then have to prioritize who stays locked up and who gets released?
Sure, and we do that now, but the dynamics are critical. 17-year-olds are more likely to have a record already, especially if they committed a serious offense or alleged to have committed a serious offense. They know that they are very likely to be removed from the home and placed somewhere. 17-year-olds have a much better ability to live on the street, leave town, than a 13-year-old or a 14-year-old. So their flight risk is much greater. So the likelihood of me having to detain that 17-year-old pre-trial is higher than a 13 or 14-year-old that commits the same offense. That requires 17-year-olds to occupy the bulk of the 24 beds, which means we'll still have some room for the 13 and 14-year-olds that commit serious offenses like armed robberies.
Mm-hmm.
But that takes up the 24 beds right there. Any other type of offender that we now would house goes home. The little Johnny that bows up to mother and socks her in the jaw that we would ordinarily keep in detention for a cooling off period, where are we going to put them?
Yeah. It's a mess. Paul, I appreciate you coming in. I hope you'll do it again soon.
Right. Thank you very much.
You
Appreciate
bet.
it.
1017 FM 710 Keel. Erin has local news just a couple of seconds away. Traffic time. Ruben's ready.
The intersection at Midway Avenue and Mansfield Road dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now, and we have some traffic delays on Texas Street in downtown Shreveport. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will bring sunshine with a high of 71, then chilly under clear skies tonight, low 36, sunshine and cooler, high 59 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
information. KEEL News now.
Lawmakers go home after spending 15 days in a special session and failing to find a solution for the $1 billion fiscal cliff. Political analyst Clancy DeBose says the same partisan divides that tanked the February special session still exist going forward.
It's almost a dead certainty that there will be a special session in June. And the problems aren't going to change. It will simply be under the gun, and there will be a much higher level of uncertainty.
Republican Representative Cameron Henry says the governor failed to communicate exactly what he wanted or how large of a shortfall that needed to be made up.
We go back to the same problem that we always have, is making sure we're all starting off with the right number. And clearly the numbers aren't clear for him, both on his vote count or on the actual shortfalls.
But Edwards is placing the blame on House Speaker Taylor Barra.
Simply put, the failure of this special session is the result of a total lack of leadership and action in the House of Representatives. A spectacular failure of leadership.
Lawmakers get back together for the regular session beginning on Monday. A man is busted after a robbery and chase with police. Bill St. Andre faces several charges after he held a couple of people at gunpoint, robbed them, then led Bossier deputies on a high-speed chase. He allegedly attempted to rob a woman outside of a convenience store on Highway 157. When that robbery didn't go as planned, St. Andre then allegedly held another man at gunpoint, took his money, and led police on a chase. St. Andre was eventually stopped in Webster Parish without incident. Parents get death threats over the religious lawsuit in Bossier. Matt Parker with that.
The 7 parents in Bossier Parish who filed suit against the school district want to remain anonymous during the legal proceedings. The parents say they fear for the safety of themselves and their children. The group is suing the Bossier Parish School District for allegedly forcing unwanted and unconstitutional religious messages on their children. Numerous social media posts were made after news of the lawsuit broke that threatened violence against the families and all non-believers. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
With the Reds still causing flooding issues across the region, the Bossier Sheriff's Department has decided to close the substation on the Teague Parkway until the waters recede. As the river crested yesterday, water from the rain-swollen river was flooding the substation's parking lot. Now, crews in Shreveport waiting for the waters to recede so they can begin the cleanup process. SPAR officials will be able to evaluate the damage, clean up debris, and make needed repairs. Of all the parks affected by the flooding, SPAR officials say Riverview Park will most likely need the biggest repairs. Criminal justice reform in Louisiana is a hot topic across the state. U.S. Senator John Kennedy tells KEEL News, our governor is doing this simply for political reasons.
He's just following the national liberal democratic dogma, and they're going to get somebody killed.
Kennedy says if you turned House Speaker Nancy Pelosi upside down, quote, Governor Edwards would fall out of her pocket. A former Trump campaign aide is a little bit skeptical after first challenging authorities to arrest him and declaring in various TV interviews that he will not cooperate with Special Prosecutor Robert Mueller. The former aide, Sam Nunberg, told the AP that he's angry over Mueller's request that he appear before a grand jury and turn over thousands of communications with other ex-officials. But he now predicts he'll end up cooperating with them. The woman's antelope hunt is on again in Wyoming. State lawmakers have passed a bill that would provide 80 pronghorn antelope hunting licenses to a special woman's hunt in Wyoming. And that would give it the same number of antelope licenses that the state has provided to the long-held one-shot antelope hunt in Lander, which chiefly involves male hunters. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
What's the best-selling small
Could have so much versatility designed to fit in your garage. And if you're looking to mow right now, a 54-inch mower deck is included. Get a BX 1880 for as low as $99 a month with 0% APR financing for 84 months. Now through June 30th, 2018. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more information.
Visit Shreveport Tractor, Bowman Tractor, or go to Kubota.com.
No, we're not going to run Jay Darden's interview again. No, I don't
You
care.
don't like Jay. You're a hater.
No, I like Jay just fine. I'm sure he's a decent man
Yeah.
for a Democrat. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel, Robert and Erin, it's at 8:39. No, when we come back, look, the session unraveled.
Mhm.
There's not going to be any new taxes.
Yeah.
For now, everything is going to be fine,
Mhm.
thanks to the no-knowers, Alan Seabaugh, Dodie
Yeah.
Horton, that Barry Ivy guy.
There is a man hated more in the nation
We're not going to talk
right
about
now.
We're not going to talk about that.
Every man is being dragged to watch The Bachelor.
I don't care.
I know you don't.
I have 1 minute here, and I'll talk about that stupid show, okay? What's the first thing, honest to God, what's the
I want to punch him.
what's the first thing that you do when you get here every morning?
The first thing
You
I do?
sit down
Yeah.
and you start editing the news.
Yeah, I
you
do.
start editing audio.
Yeah.
Matt starts
Yeah,
editing
I was about
audio.
to say the first thing she does is yell at me.
The point is this. For our less than...
This was uncut. It was unedited. Part of it was he's a duty head.
The fact
I
that
want to
you-
punch this man.
The fact that you, in charge of a little bitty radio show in little bitty Shreveport, Louisiana,
Whatever.
still exercise such a degree of control to think that a television network that is worth billions and billions of dollars doesn't do the same thing never ceases to astonish me.
I know.
That
I
you
know.
think when it comes to news stuff, it's scripted, it's edited. You know what you're doing. And yet you assume.
He crushes her.
And yet you
She
assume.
would have never signed on to that. Oh, yes, of course. Let me let you crush me on national TV.
And yet you assume that a multi-billion-dollar television network doesn't have a plan or a script.
I want to kick him right below the belt and above the thighs.
Speaking of that, when we come back, of getting kicked, blah, 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 and blah, 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 that is what the city of Shreveport is going to want to do to Erin McCarthy. I will expound.
Oh, we're not going there, are we?
Damn right. When we return, it's 8:39, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Here's traffic.
Still keeping an eye on that major accident on North Market southbound near I-220 westbound. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will bring sunshine with a high of 71, then chilly under clear skies tonight, low 36. Sunshine and cooler, high 59 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
1017 FM, 710 Keel, Robert and Erin. Keel app presented by Office Furniture Source, a free download.
You're just evil.
The city of Shreveport is going to rue the day.
No, they're not.
The city of Shreveport is going to rue the day that anyone connected with the aforementioned municipality ever appointed you to any committee.
No, they're not.
They are. I'm telling you.
I'm a ray of sunshine.
Already, you are a pain in their ass. Oh, I'm sorry. Already, you are a problematic.
I've been a PIA for a long time.
Yes, and now everyone's going to see what I'm up against.
Okay.
The point is this: do you have the email in front of you that you sent?
I can get it. Yeah.
I want you to dig that up. I want you to give us a little background and a little heads up, and I want you to explain. I'm telling you, they have no idea that they put you on a committee that's in charge of money. They have no idea what a pain you're going to be because you are the nitpickiest. Where does every little nickel and dime and paperclip go?
Right.
They have no idea what's in store for them. So here's the latest in the Erin McCarty City Power Broker saga.
I sent this to the mayor yesterday.
What's the back?
Right?
Give me the background.
Well, I have some questions with regard to the April 28th bond issue that's going to be on the ballot. There's several items on the ballot.
So there's an election coming up at the end of April.
Yeah, there are 6 propositions on the ballot, raising a total of $11.2 million.
This is something we need to mention every day.
Right.
Because is this one of those little special election things?
Yeah.
Hey, I know, let's slide this under the radar.
Yeah, it's kind of one of these. We're going to do it in an oddball election, and hopefully we can get city workers to go out and pass it, etc.
Right.
My issue is there's a big crowd in this community that says these propositions expired December 31st.
It is being described by the Tyler administration as tax renewals or millage renewals.
Millage renewals.
Okay.
There are folks that saying no because they expired. They're not renewals.
Isn't that splitting hairs?
It is splitting hairs because your taxes won't go up. You'll be paying the same this year that you paid last year. But you should have, if you were a proper management group, you would have gotten this taken care of before they expired. But I have gotten some inside information since I raised that issue. But I sent this to the mayor yesterday. And I might be fired by the end of the day. Who knows?
They'll rue the day.
They might. The $11 million from the April 28th bond issue was included in the 2018 budget, so I'm told. And these millages expired on December 31st.
Excuse me.
So they are technically not renewals like the mayor is saying.
So there's money in the budget for...
This $11 million is in the budget for 2018.
Before it's been approved.
Before we've voted yes or no on them. We have about $4.7 million in reserve. And if these don't pass, we would have to dip into the reserve and wipe it out, and then be $6 million in the red, make cuts.
To use your poker analogy once again, is Miss Ollie, is the city of Shreveport betting with chips it doesn't have?
I'm afraid this is not looking good.
So please continue.
But the other issue is the one of these that has to do with police and the police 3-tier platoon system. There was a legal case involving Baton Rouge that I'm told the city was waiting until that was settled before putting this millage back on the ballot. And this one is going to show up as a new tax on the ballot. Though you won't be paying any different, it will still show up as a new tax. So
Any response from the city yet?
I have not heard back.
Okay. Hold this. We got to go right now.
I'm a little bit
We will
wondering.
review this tomorrow morning earlier in the show because there's a lot of folks, the early listeners, who are not aware of this. This is the first time we have covered this, what I call the you will rue the day.
No, they will not rue the day.
I, for one, think it was an awesome idea. And I think you are establishing your power base. And I'm going to try to be part of it.
How you put $11 million in the budget that's not been voted on by the people. I'm a little bit mystified.
Are you gambling with chips you don't have?
Yeah.
849, 1017 FM, 710 Keel traffic update coming up right now. Here's Ruben, and he's on Keel.
The intersection at Midway Avenue and Mansfield Road's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now, and we have some traffic delays on Texas Street in downtown Shreveport. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will bring sunshine with a high of 71, then chilly under clear skies tonight, low 36. Sunshine and cooler, high 59 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Right now, 57, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Here comes your money now, right now on Keel.
You're listening to American Ground Radio's Morning Minute.
Arkansas became the third state to add work requirements for Medicaid benefits. You now either have to have a job or do volunteer work in the community to receive those benefits.
And of course, anyone who supports such a measure is heartless or a racist. But look, before these programs began in 1965, only 22% of children were born into single-parent families. After that, the illegitimacy rate tripled to almost 70%.
Benjamin Franklin said, "I'm all for doing good for the poor. I just want to drive them out of it rather than leave them comfortable in their poverty."
American Ground Radio, where building a better America begins with building a better us. Return each weeknight from 6 to 7 p.m. with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr on 1017 FM and 710 Keel, and streaming live at keelnews.com.
Is the camera on me now? Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, once again for Twin City Appliance. If I sound a little, I don't know, concerned, it's because as we were approaching this live Twin City read that we do a couple times a week, Erin waved her finger in the air and said, "Don't worry, I've got this."
Yes.
So pardon me if I seem a little overly nervous.
I am on a Popeye kick.
I beg your pardon?
I'm on a Popeye kick.
That means one of two things.
I've been eating spinach.
I thought you were dating a very thin woman.
No, I've been eating spinach. Spinach is my go-to. And usually it's the frozen variety. You slap it in the microwave, you get it out, you maybe salt it a little bit, and then you chow down.
Yes.
Well, the problem with the spinach is that I'm growing stronger and muscly like Popeye.
And what
So what I did was when I got the spinach out of the darn microwave, in my muscly self,
Yeah.
I slammed the door to the microwave, and it came unwedgedy-pootied. And so I needed to get wedgedy-pootied back, and the people that can do it are going to be at Twin City Appliance because they can fix anything Popeye can destroy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to get the Twin City Appliance guys in my house
Right.
to fix my microwave because I'm getting too muscly like Popeye. So I'm going to give them a call today.
Evidently, every fear I had was warranted.
318-688-0253. Or if you're getting like me and you're breaking appliances because you're too studly, check them out online at twincityappliance.com.
Love the new anchor tattoo, by the way. Rue the day. I'm telling you, we'll talk more about that tomorrow morning.
They will not rue the day.
I'm ruining the day already.
I know you are.
Back tomorrow morning, 6 till 9, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. It is 8:57. Here's Kim Commando on KEEL.
If you haven't yet heard this Facebook story about its bizarre and dysfunctional staff and its apparent catering to pedophiles, stand by. Kim Commando with your Tuesday Consumer Tech Update. Let me say this outright. Facebook has an ongoing pedophile problem. Sexual predators use Facebook to gather, chat among themselves, and of course, trade child porn. That's bad enough. But now, Facebook has been caught red-handed asking users if they think that pedophiles should be able to proposition underage girls to try to get them to send sexually explicit photographs. I'll take a moment to let that sink in. British press caught this so-called survey question on Facebook. When caught, Facebook scraped the survey and floated a lame excuse saying that the survey should have been, get this, better design. Now, I'm left wondering, what kind of staff does Facebook employ? Who could even think that any question along these lines would be appropriate? Facebook has a pedophile problem, all right. To fix it, perhaps they need to start with their own staff. I'm Kim Commando. Let me tell you why I've long been a fan of Epson, and why you will be too when you experience the economical Epson EcoTank 4750 wireless all-in-one printer. Say goodbye to your old, slow, expensive printer and move up to my printer of choice. The incredible EcoTank 4750 comes with enough ink right out of the box to print up to 11,000 color pages. That's the equivalent to 30 ink cartridge sets and up to 2 years of printing. The 4750 is truly wireless. Print from any iPad, iPhone, Android, tablet, smartphone, or through your own Wi-Fi network. And this Epson holds 250 sheets in the paper tray. When it's finally time for ink, you easily refill the printer's ink tanks in seconds. The 4750 is truly cartridge-free printing. Epson's EcoTank 4750 wireless all-in-one printer is available everywhere. Cartridge-free printing with the Epson EcoTank, the smart choice. More information at epson.com/EcoTankKim.
The intersection at Midway Avenue and Mansfield Road's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now, and we have some traffic delays on Texas Street in downtown Shreveport. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will bring sunshine with a high of 71, then chilly under clear skies tonight, low 36. Sunshine and cooler, high 59 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.